I'd like to tell you about a psychological model that I use every day of the week personally, and it's helped me a lot with almost everything I've struggled with, but it's particularly helpful for people with chronic pain. It's called the choice point model, and there's a slide behind me right here. The choice point model tries to help people zoom out from all of the little details that make us feel stuck, kind of historical learning about things, or things that we might have struggled with in the here and now that have taught us a way of behaving. It zooms out from that and helps us to make a decision based on a really simple question. And the question is this problem and what I'm going to do going to move me towards the life that I want or away from the life that I want? And it's a really simple way, really, of unhooking ourselves from places when we feel very stuck. And I thought I'd use this example that I got from someone in therapy just a few weeks ago to try and help you understand how it can be useful for people with chronic pain. So I'm going to call this lady Mary. And Mary was a really lovely woman, and she did struggle with her pain, and she found that actually what had happened over time was she was doing less and less social interaction with her friends and more kind of isolating herself at home, because she felt that every time she went out her pain got worse. And in a way she adapted her behaviour to try and keep her pain as steady as she could, but all it really did was isolate her, bring her mood down, and perhaps take her away from the life she wants. So Mary had told me about this situation. She wanted to go out dancing with her friends, and this was really important to her for a number of reasons. She wasn't really very social in everyday life. She wanted to see her friends, go dancing, make herself look really glam. That had a really, really positive effect upon how she lived her life. And when Mary came, she told me about some things that she felt were holding her back from going dancing. And we call these hooks. They're the things that kind of hook us in onto the problem, keep us really focused around not living. And she told me her hooks were every time she went dancing, it really made her pain worse. And she also told me that she had this really strong thing about what's the point in going? I can't wear my beautiful shoes. I can only stay for about 20 minutes. And her behaviour was to ignore her friends' calls. So when her friends were calling saying, Mary, come on, let's go out dancing, instead of being drawn towards the thing she really wanted deep in her heart, she listened to these very, very strong thoughts. And I think it's really easy to get hooked on these, because actually a lot of the time we try things, it makes our pain much worse, and then we really regret doing them and perhaps tailor them off across time. We spent some time, Mary and I, just looking at the effects of these hooks, the things that hooked her into not doing what she wanted. And she was able quite quickly to see it really affected her, really stopped her from doing things. In fact, it became a real barrier to her going out dancing with her friends. Over time, we began to think about how we might loosen this situation up and really move away from this side of the board, which is coming away from the life she wants, listening to those difficult thoughts, real thoughts, but difficult thoughts, and thinking about how she could move towards the life she wants. So after a few sessions, Mary and I came to the idea that when these unhelpful thoughts came up, when these hooks came into her life, she felt herself on the hook, being pulled towards the kind of life she didn't want, that she could use some helping thoughts. And these helping thoughts, instead of acting as barriers, would kind of open the door for her. And her thoughts were, I'm going to go for a bit. I'm going to take my comfy shoes with me. I'm going to wear my glam shoes, but take the comfy ones with me. And I'm just going to focus on how lovely it is going to be to see my friend Andrea, because I don't often get to see her. And her behaviour that she was going to replace the ignoring her friends' calls with was that she was going to make sure that she makes a little plan and paces herself through the days before. So even 2 days before coming up to her dancing party, she decided that she was not going to do any big activities. She was kind of limiting, perhaps in a slightly different way, limiting her activities so that she had enough in her pot so that she could go dancing with her friends. One thing that you might see if you come see a psychologist is this. This is a values bullseye, and this is a really helpful tool. Sometimes it makes me feel quite upset when I do it for myself, because it makes me realise how far away I am from the things that really matter to me, the things that make my life great and make me tick. And what the psychologist might do is ask you in the first instance to rate where you are today, to put a little cross whether you think you are far away from the things that you value, or whether you are living your life with the things that you value fully in your sight. And the idea being that when you see the psychologist, or even in a pain management program, you might then use this to track how you're moving towards the thing that you want. Not tracking how much suffering you're having. We know pain's pretty awful, and that for some people, maybe it just goes on and on. But This is more about shifting away from what's happening in your body, shifting towards the life that you want to be living with your pain, with all your history, with everything in tow. So I hope that perhaps in the future, when you come across a psychologist and they say, "Ooh, let's have a look at your choice point," you won't feel afraid of what they're going to do. Choice points for me help people to open up the possibilities, help people to move towards the things they want, even with their pain on board.